Welcome to Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com. Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Pacific. Ray Flowers breaks it all down for you from a fantasy sports perspective. Did you make it? Oh, listen to me. I can't even talk. I barely made it. Oh, my gosh. Whew. I'm Ray Flowers. Let me try this again. I'm Ray Flowers. Wow, that was bad. That doesn't normally happen to me. I'm verklempt, as they say. Welcome to the show. I'm Ray Flowers, the FantasyGuru.com. Thanks for joining me here today. Hope you had a happy holiday season. Happy holidays, Hanukkah, Christmas, all that stuff, whatever you celebrate. We had a pretty wild storm out here in California. We're okay. Everything's fine here. But trees down all over the place, some flooding. So hopefully wherever you are, everything's going well and you're in good shape. Again, I'm Ray Flowers of FG. You can find me over there in Discord. You can find me writing articles. My matchup article is up over at fantasyguru.com right now. So, look at that. I got to shave my beard a little bit. Over at fantasyguru.com. So all the matchups for this week, including the three from the games yesterday, no longer needed, of course, but they're there, as well as all the other games, all the other 13 of them for this week. My Coffin Corner piece went up just a few minutes ago. We'll talk about that actually on the show today. So let me throw up on the screen what we're going to do today. It's a Friday, so at about 30 minutes, Russell Clay's going to join us. We're going to talk some big name situations and players coming into this weekend. It is championship week for most people. I know most of you don't play week 18. I know most people don't have 2-week finals. We go over this every year. It's difficult playing a schedule here in the final week of the fantasy football season where you got games on Thursday, you got games on Saturday, you got games on Sunday. At least we don't have Monday games. But there's a lot going on here. There is a nightmare scenario that could play out where every seating spot is in place. It'd take a lot of things to happen, but where every seating place is taken care of this weekend, nothing's to play for week 18. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, we'll talk to Russell Clay about this week. We'll also ask him three players in particular. He's our dynasty guy. Christian Watson, Isaac TeSlaa, Rashee Rice. What are their outlooks? All in different places in their careers and all dealing with different things. What are their outlooks in a dynasty scenario? We'll talk to him about that in addition to those running back questions. Josh Jacobs, Omarion Hampton, the Patriots, Dylan Sampson, Taysom Hill. I've seen this name come up too many times for my liking, but we got to take it seriously after what happened last week. We'll talk to Russell Clay about that in a few minutes. Before then, we'll talk some Coffin Corner, some of those numbers to astound and wow you. We'll go over the three games from Christmas Day. What happened? What do you need to know? Did your week start off well, hopefully? Hopefully it didn't start off poorly here in the fantasy playoffs, wherever you might be. Good luck this week. And again, remember, we're over at fantasyguru.com answering questions in Discord, helping you out. Jeff Mance will be back on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio today as well. He'll be on 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern. That show is Monday through Friday. I'm on with him every Wednesday, which is why I'm not here. I'm on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday here. Justin Fensterman hosts Wednesdays here while I'm with Jeff. And again, that's on Sirius XM, and Jeff's show is from 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern time on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. You can still get signed up now, too, by the way. It's not too late for that. Oh, as I clicked the wrong button here. It's not too late for that. We have all kinds of things available for you over at fantasyguru.com. Just join today. Click the subscribe tab in the top right corner of the page. Got a little fuzz on my face here. What is this? Should have looked at this before I... Is it just a shadow? I don't know what's going on here. I got something on my first. No, I'm just kidding. I got something on my... Anyway. Go to fantasyguru.com, click the subscribe tab in the top right corner, get signed up, send an email if you have any questions about any of the products, support at fantasyguru.com. You've heard this before. Bottom line is we have all the products available right now. About the only one that's not rocking and rolling right now is baseball. You can sign up for the MVP plan, which is everything besides football and baseball. That MVP plan is basketball and hockey, which are rocking and rolling. Jokic went 55, 15, and 15. First triple-double ever, I think, with those three numbers. We had, obviously, the Sunday games there. We've got hockey. Go Sharks. I got for my brother. Thank you, Jeff. I got the Step Brothers. Have you seen the movie Step Brothers, Will Ferrell? The shirt with Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith. I got that for the holidays, so that was nice. So we have basketball, hockey, NASCAR, PGA, MMA, soccer, horse racing. All of that is the MVP plan. And then the football plan still available right now. You get it. Get signed up over at fantasyguru.com. If you have any questions, again, remember, support at fantasyguru.com. That football product is all of our college coverage, all of our NFL coverage for seasonal, DFS, and wagering, all of that. One price the rest of the way. The only thing it doesn't include is the Super Bowl betting guide. Everything else, the rest of the way, One low price, all of it, college, NFL. Pretty good deal over at fantasyguru.com. And finally, you can't get those gift cards. Just because we had Christmas yesterday and Hanukkah's done, doesn't mean you can't still get gift cards. Doesn't mean we don't give you free bucks if you do buy a gift card, because we do. It doesn't. Oh, I just realized I didn't adjust my face too. Look at my face is taking up too much space here, Ray. The rough morning coming back after Christmas, apparently, for Ray Flowers here. Let me see if I can make an adjustment. There we go. Now my face is normal size. Okay. Sorry that I had such a bulbous face there. But now everyone can take a sigh of relief here. Yeah, by the way, again, gift cards. You spend money, we give you free cash. You can use those gift cards, buy a gift card and give it to yourself. You don't have to give it to somebody else. You don't have to give a Christmas gift or late. You don't have to give a Hanukkah gift late, a Kwanzaa gift. You don't have to give a New Year's gift. You can do all these things still if you want. You just give it to yourself. And remember, when you buy a gift card, you do get free bucks. So check that out over at fantasyguru.com. All right, let's go. Let's go this up here today. All right. The Cowboys defeated the Commanders 30-23. The Cowboys, this game went pretty much to plan, other than one significant factor that everyone is aware of. Oh, and I see some comments here, by the way. Happy Boxing Day, says Angelo. There we go. Nice. Way to go, Angelo. Doc says Merry Christmas. Same to you, Doc. Angelo said, I got my brother a vintage Atlanta Thrashers jersey. Nice. That is old school there. Yeah, those were back in the days where I used to cover hockey. Atlanta Thrashers. Nice. I like that. It's pretty cool. I see some questions here. We'll answer those as we move through the show. Don't worry. We'll get to them. Again, back to the Cowboys game. 307 yards, 2 touchdowns for Dak Prescott. Exactly what you were hoping for when you started him. So that was fine. Turpin had an 86-yard touchdown. That's unfortunate because one of the scores went to a guy no one was starting. Pickens went for 4 and 78. That's about the floor, right? Or at least it had. Well, I take that back. It should be the floor, but it actually hasn't been the floor recently. But for about 10 weeks, 4 for 78 was the floor. So, when you see your quarterback go for 302 and you see Pickens go 4 for 78 and Lamb go 5 for 46, that's disappointing. So you see the 30 points on the board. You start rolling through the box score. You see the 302. You're thinking, I got Pickens. I got Lamb. You didn't get anything. Lamb and Pickens both had floor games, which is really disappointing here in the finals. Again, the touchdown goes to Turpin. Ferguson had a floor game even with the touchdown because he got hurt, only caught one pass. It happened to be a touchdown, so at least there was that. But this was just a game. The one area where they excelled was on the ground. Now, the problem was, obviously, that Jamal Williams, who came into the game with a neck issue, hurt his shoulder. And he, 13 carries, 54 yards, and a touchdown. So at least he scored. At least he got you double-digit points. Really hurts, though, when you see Malik Davis go for 103 yards, thinking to yourself, well, Williams was a lock for 100 yards in this game. Maybe he gets a second touchdown. I don't think anyone started Malik Davis. If you did, I don't know why you would have. Once Davante Williams was, announced as active in this game, simply no reason to go with Malik Davis. But if you used him in DFS, you're happy because he ran for 103 yards. But yeah, we don't know right now the situation with Williams. Obviously, the Cowboys are out of the playoffs. Does he play next week? We don't know. But at least he got in the end zone there for you. But again, that was the disappointing thing. So if you add it all up, they ran for over 200 yards in this game if you add in Prescott's work. So they had a very successful day on the ground against the Commanders. Now, on the Commanders side, Josh Johnson was the quarterback. I don't know what you would expect other than what he did. Solid game. Didn't make a bunch of mistakes. Obviously, Deebo Samuel took a short pass, 41 yards for a large chunk of Johnson's production. He ran for 10 yards, just bleh. If you used him in flex, super flex, or 2 quarterback leagues, and this again was why I've argued for a couple years now pretty strongly, including this year very strongly, that we should just use team quarterbacks. So at least you have a quarterback. All these people asking questions like, oh my gosh, which one of these junk balls do we use? Even worse, even beyond that, we need to stop playing super flex leagues because, championship weeks, people are playing Gardner Minshew. Well, not Gardner Minshew. Oladokin, I can't even spell his name. You're playing Josh Johnson. You're playing Brady Cook, Phillip Rivers. This, why are we doing this? Anyway, not much to see here at all. If you use Terry McLaurin, you got 11 points, kind of like Javonte Williams on the other side. It was okay. 5 catches for 63 yards. On the ground, this was... We had Roma Dunze 5 minutes before game time a couple weeks ago with that foot injury, right? Screw everybody in fantasy. He didn't get as screwed with Chris Rodriguez, but he's added to the injury report day of the game with an illness. Players almost always play through illnesses. though it was added hours before the game. He ends up being inactive. So JCM ends up going for 105 yards and 2 touchdowns. All of his game was 2 carries, but still, if you flip from Rodriguez to JCM, you got a payoff. If you didn't because you went to see your family or do something, that just blows. And there's there's nothing I can say. That just sucks. And unfortunately, it probably happened to a few people out there. What are you going to do? Move on, I guess. Just terrible. Next up, you want to talk terrible. My nephew and I were laughing because this game's on, and we're like, do they have any yardage? What are the Lions doing? They've turned the ball over 702 times. How is the line? Wait, Brosmer threw for 51 yards. This game ended up being a Vikings victory. The Vikings and Lions have the same record. That's how bad things have gone. They've gone haywire for the Lions. They lose 23-10 to the Vikings. This was catastrophic. And here are my 2 notes for the day. I always do this, right? I have like 2 notes for the game. Obviously the Lions lost in the game they had to win to make the playoffs. It's over. They committed 6 turnovers. Goff threw 2 interceptions, lost 3 fumbles. 6 turnovers to lose to a team that threw the ball for 51 yards. Not only that, the Lions had 174 yards of offense before the final drive. With the season on the line, and again, let's just put this out there. The Vikings defense is smoking hot right now. They are killing, crushing, demoralizing, defeating opponents. Absolutely true. They've been doing that for about 6-7 weeks now. But really, Lions? Jahmyr Gibbs can't run the ball anymore. Like he's been running the ball for 45, 50 yards. He can't run the ball anymore. David Montgomery had 12 touches, which I think is a high since Dan Campbell started calling plays because he's really been featuring Gibbs in this offense. Jared Goff never plays that poor. 5 turnovers. What are you going to do, right? St. Brown at least had 8 for 68. You started him again. Floor game for him. Another superstar receiver with the floor game. Isaac TeSlaa, who we'll talk to Russell Clay about here in a few minutes, had a touchdown. More involved than normal. 4 targets, a big number for him, but still. J-Mo, who's been going 466 in like a touchdown, like week after week after week, 2 catches, 37 yards. This was just a horrendous offensive performance in a must-win game against a defense that's playing great, but still. And so, Dan Campbell took over play calling duties and it worked and everyone was feeling good about things. And what a the Lions and the Vikings have the same record. Whew. On the Viking side, I've already mentioned a couple times, Brosmer threw for 51 freaking yards and they won a game. Hey, they won the game. Jefferson had 4 catches for 30 yards. Jordan Addison had 1 target, no catches. This is, and I've said this before, and I'll reiterate it here, repeat it, whatever. The Vikings can't. They're gonna go. They're gonna do it. Clearly they're gonna do it. They're gonna go in. If Brosmer is the quarterback again in Week 18, we're not certain if McCarthy is gonna be able to play through his hand injury or not. If Brosmer is the quarterback in Week 18, even if it's McCarthy in Week 18, the Vikings are literally going to go into this offseason with their Hall of Fame superstar, otherworldly player, Justin Jefferson, having no idea what the plan is for next season, having no idea who the quarterback is going to be for next season, and going into this offseason probably feeling worse about where he is than if he had blown his knee up. Like, it's week after week after week of utter crap for Justin Jefferson. The Vikings are going to have to placate that guy in the offseason. This is just terrible position that they're in. And again, they won the football game here. Aaron Jones got in the end zone. Jordan Mason obviously didn't play because of injury. Aaron Jones caught 3 balls for 10 yards. Woo! And got a touchdown on the ground. Good for him. Addison did have a rushing touchdown. So, hey, look, at least, he had as many carries as he did targets. But he got a touchdown, 65-yarder. So, hey, there it is. But just what a terrible game. Finally, Denver and Kansas City here. This is another one of those games that it's like, right? Denver came back and won here at the end. They scored a touchdown with under 2 minutes left in the game to win the game. It was, the Broncos moved to 13-3, and the Chiefs fell to 6-10. But the Broncos, they're not playing really well right now. Like the Vikings are playing much better football right now, at least on the defensive side. The Vikings defense is even playing better than the Broncos defense right now. But this is another game where, the Broncos won late. This has kind of been a theme of the Bo Nix era to start off his career here with the Broncos. RJ Harvey didn't do anything on the ground, 14 carries, 43 yards. Did have 5 catches for a touchdown, so he paid off. He's going to end the week. He's like running back 14 right now, something like that, because he's had the 18-point game yesterday. He'll end up the week in the top 23 or so at the running back spot, which is a pretty good number considering he wasn't even the lead guy for two-thirds of half the season. But anyway, he got in the end zone, so he paid off. 19 touches though for 76 yards, and not really that good, but 5 of them catches, so that worked out. Sutton had 4 catches for 40 yards. Pat Bryant was out with the head injury. Franklin should have. He didn't. Franklin, 4 targets, 4 catches, 17 yards. Who cares? There's another game where they just eked this one out. Bo Nix had a rushing score, and so he had saved his fantasy day. Kinda. Like it wasn't. He ran for 42 yards and had a touchdown on the ground. So he was okay. He's fine. 182 and 1 in the air. He was fine. But again, they won the football game here late. The Chiefs, Oladokin didn't play badly, but he threw for 86 yards, which in comparison to Brosmer is obviously good. 1 touchdown. This game ended up being Pacheco leading the way on the ground in carries, Hunt leading the way on the ground in yardage, surprisingly. Neither one hit 40 yards, though. The team couldn't sustain drives. I think they had 41 offensive plays, the Chiefs did. That's just, you're not going to win games doing that. Travis Kelce may have played his final home game. He was the only guy that did absolutely anything through the air. 5 catches for 36 yards. Rashad Smith did have a touchdown reception, so, good for him there. 5-yard touchdown reception in the second quarter. But, 3 catches, 5 yards, touchdown. Again, nothing to see here. We'll see about week 17 or 18 for the Chiefs, but, the Chiefs are going to finish 6-11, aren't they? Ooh, just remarkable. Eric says, not going anywhere near Jefferson next year. Taking him at 107 was an awful pick in hindsight. Well, you can say things like there's a bunch of awful picks in hindsight. That doesn't, taking, again, a guy who's going to the Hall of Fame in the prime of his peak of his athletic career, it's not a mistake. In retrospect, in hindsight, absolutely, it's a terrible pick, Eric. I have Jefferson all over the place. So believe me, I have him everywhere. I had him in Dynasty League. I have him in all my redraft leagues, and it's one of the reasons my teams didn't do very well this year. There's no doubt about that. But he's still a Hall of Fame bound receiver. And, in my opinion, the Vikings they're not just going to bring in somebody. I don't think J.J. McCarthy starts week 1 next year. So whoever they bring in, I think is their starter next year. After what we saw this year, really tough to feel good about it. If J.J. McCarthy is their quarterback next year, we're going to have to reassess Jefferson after what we saw this year. But I still have hope for Jefferson. But yeah, it was just an absolute disaster. Angela said he was happy your opponent started JMO. That's good. That works well for you. Didn't work well for them, Angela. Over at fantasyguru.com, again, I've got an article up right now, my matchup report. So if you have any more games on Saturday, Sunday, remember, games on Saturday too. We got a couple of games on Saturdays, so get those lineups set. That article's up over at fantasyguru.com. Another article is up is my Coffin Corner piece. And that goes up every Friday morning. Let me take a sip of water here before I actually get ready. And in the article, I basically point out players or numbers that might surprise you a bit, that kind of points something out, that says something that, okay. How about this first number? 131. That's the number of rushing yards that Tony Pollard needs to reach a career high in rushing yards. Tony Pollard, who was left for dead. Tony Pollard, who we all, rightly so, said, I can't tell you how many times I said, well, if he's on the waiver wire, add him. He shouldn't be on the waiver wire, but you're not starting him. So hopefully people at least had him on their bench, that kind of thing. But Tony Pollard has run for 161, 104, and 102 yards the last 3 games, averaging 122 yards the last 3 games. He needs 131 yards in the final 2 games to reach a career high in rushing yards. His yards per carry right now is 4.5. It was 4.1 the last 2 years. And that's how quickly things can change in fantasy football in particular. 5 weeks ago, Pollard's on the waiver wire in leagues, 100%. Now we're looking at a scenario where not only has he averaged almost half a yard more this season than he did the previous 2 years, we're at a point where he's 51 yards away from a 1,000-yard season. And again, he's 131 yards away from a career high in rushing yards. 5 rushing scores last year, 5 rushing scores this year. The season before, 6 rushing scores. He's going to have his best rushing season in 3 years. Yeah. Unless he gets hurt. I mean, that's just absolute craziness given where we were. He faces New Orleans this week. Difficult matchup. He faces Jaguars in week 18. Not an easy matchup either. Both those defenses playing good football. So it's not going to be easy getting 131 yards. But he's obviously got a chance, and he's 51 yards away from 1,000. I know. Pretty crazy. I think it's pretty crazy. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one here. How about this one? 395. That's the yardage mark of Garrett Wilson. Well, Ray, why would you mention that? Well, you know where I'm going with this, right? 395, yardage mark, Garrett Wilson. Who leads the Jets in receiving yards? It's the guy that's only played 7 games this year. It's Garrett Wilson. When you start looking around at some of these offenses, there's been hideous play, and we've discussed it many times throughout the year, but there are some hideous performances coming down the pipe here in 2025 on offense in the NFL. Some hideous performances. The Jets' leading receiver has played 7 games. Think of it this way. Justin Fields, who finally was placed on the injured list, his knee's not going to require surgery, but he wasn't going to play the next 2 weeks here. So they put him on the IR. Season's over. He's going to lead the Jets in passing yards with 1,259, which obviously is a pathetic number, but let's contextualize that 1,259. You know how many passing yards the last 4 games Matthew Stafford has? 1,349. Matthew Stafford has thrown for 90 more yards the last 4 weeks than the Jets' leading passer is going to have all season long. So there's a lot that the Jets got to address. Obviously, they've had injuries, they've had trades, there's front office shakeups. There's lots going on. I mean, there's a lot going on here, including who's going to be their quarterback next year. But just dreadful work there with the Jets. Excuse me. Next number is 8. That's how many catches that Chris Olave needs for 100. Pretty quietly, Chris Olave is going to get 100 catches this year, which is pretty remarkable. They were talking about him on the Elite Sports Show. Again, that's on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio Monday through Friday from 2 to 5 on SiriusXM. I just said it. 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Olave was kind of a target for the Elite Mafia because the price point was 6th, 7th round. And it was like, well, who's their quarterback? Kind of this is the Justin Jefferson scenario. Like, who's their quarterback? And, well, Olave's also got head injuries we have to be worried about. But what's the receiving core look like there? It sure looks like he's going to get a lot of work. And he fell in quite a few drafts. He was drafted as a 2, or he was probably drafted as a 3 in many leagues, wide receiver 3. He's going to have 100 catches this year. His best previously was 87. So, here we go. He's already passed that. But here's more contextualization. Having a hard time saying that this morning. Of the performance of Chris Olave. He's got to have 100 catches. He's got 92 right now. Second on the team right now at the wide receiver spot in catches on the Saints is a guy who's not even on the team anymore. He's not hurt. He's not on the team. Rashee Shaheed, who's now on the Seahawks, is second on the team in receptions at the wide receiver spot. He's not on the team. Next up at the wide receiver spot is Devon Vele, who's on IR with 25 catches. Okay, so the number 2 pass catcher for the team, the Saints, at the wide receiver spot, Shaheed, not on the team. The number 3 pass catcher at the wide receiver spot on the Saints, Vele, inactive because he's on the IR. He's done. The number 2 active wide receiver in terms of receptions for the Saints is Mason Tipton, who has like 80 less catches than Chris Olave. We'll talk about Taysom Hill in a couple minutes here with Russell Clay. Kind of get an outlook of what his outlook will be for the championship week here. But what? Some of these offenses are just top heavy or just bad. It's just, oof. You want to hear some more? Here's some more bad. Number 1. is the number in the Coffin Corner. Remember, this is the Coffin Corner piece. You can read it over at fantasyguru.com. Any questions about the product, support at fantasyguru.com. Send an email, support at fantasyguru.com. If you just want to get the product, remember, all NFL, all college, all DFS, all seasonal, all wagering, all of it, one price the rest of the way. Click that subscribe tab in the top right corner. One is the number of Cardinals players with 275 rushing yards this season. Michael Carter leads the team with 286 rushing yards. Now, remember, so the season leader, 286 for Michael Carter for the Cardinals. Jonathan Taylor ran for 244 yards in one game this year. I mean, now, speaking of Taylor, his season's gone way off the rails. There was always likely to be some slowing because his start was just phenomenal. It was historic, right? Then we had all the injuries at the quarterback position. We had the offense. We had the team kind of just, we're getting 44-year-old dudes off couches, right? Like things drastically changed for this offense. And so his production not only slowed, it really slowed. First 8 games, he ran for 106 yards a game. Since those first 8 games, he's run for 91 yards a game. But remember, I just mentioned 244 yards. He ran for 244 yards in one of the last 8 games. So let's remove, or last 7 games. Let's remove that one game. We then see 106.3 yards, his number for his first 8 weeks, drop all the way down to 65.8. Yeah, so it's been rough for him. It's been rough for the team. And Jonathan Taylor still starts. You're still firing him up this week and all that kind of stuff. Phillip Rivers is going to be the quarterback this week for the Colts. But his production you have to scale back. The 130-yard 3-touchdown thing that he was doing was somewhat regularity. Some regularity. I can't say that, but you know what I'm talking. 3 games, 3 touchdowns, or whatever it was. Just can't look at him do that anymore. He's just kind of a ham and egger right now with that offense. The next number, 1, is the number of Packers with 36 catches. Packers pretty good team, right? Pretty good offense, right? 1 player with 36 catches. And that player, before I even get that, they played 15 games as everyone else has too. That's 2.4 catches a game to get to 36. 2.4. They have 1 player on their team who's averaging 2.4 catches a game. Now, some of that's injury, right? Guys haven't played, but still, they have 1 season-long player averaging 2.4 yards a catch, leading him to 36 catches. That player is Romeo Doubs. If you have Romeo Doubs, I'm sure you played him at some point. If you have Romeo Doubs, I'm sure you've been disappointed most of the time, right? I'm sure you've played him and you've been, oh crap, I got to play him. Or you've played him and it's like, oh, he did great. 6 catches, 50 yards. Whoopie-doo. He's the only guy with 36 catches on this team. And think about this. He's on pace. He has 52 catches, so he's averaging 3.5 a game, 3.5 catches a game. Last year, how many passes a game did Romeo Doubs catch? 3.5. In 2023, how many passes a game did Romeo Doubs catch? 3.5. What about his rookie season of 2022? What's that number? 3.2. Oh. He's averaged 3.5 catches for 3 consecutive seasons, and it was 3.2 in the other. You know exactly what you're going to get from him, and that's the guy that's leading your team in receptions? Pretty damn dicey. Pretty damn dicey. I'm Ray Flowers of fantasyguru.com. We'll be back here on Monday. Schedule was a little wonky this week because of the holiday. We'll be back on our normal Monday through Friday thing going next week. We're here about an hour each day, 12 to 1 Eastern time most days. Sometimes a little less, sometimes a little bit more as we go through things. Normally it's me writing solo on Monday, and it'll be again this next week here. I'll review all the weekend, all the Saturday, Sunday action, the results going game by game, team by team, what you need to know. On Tuesday, it'll be back to Armando Marsal on Tuesday. Wednesday, it'll be Justin Fensterman and Rich Mileto. Thursday, it'll be me and Tyler Beaker. And Fridays, as it is going to be in just a moment, it'll be me and Russell Clay. All the guests show up about half an hour into the show. For those of you that are new here, welcome. We go solo hosting for about a half hour and then guest hosting for the final half hour of the show. So at about 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, those guys jump in and we have a little discussion. I'm just looking at the news here before we bring in the handsome one, as he's known here on these parts, Russell Clay. Josh Allen will play on Sunday, according to head coach Sean McDermott. Yay! Yay. Had the foot injury. You obviously heard it when he was scrambling, twisting around and all that kind of stuff. But he's going to play. The soreness in his foot has dissipated throughout the week. So he's going to be out there. It's not a great matchup against the Eagles, but it's Josh Allen. And I see a question here. We're going to get to it here right off the top. Let's bring in Russell Clay of fantasyguru.com. He joins us every Friday. Russell Clay, happy holidays to you, Russ. How you doing?
What's going on, Ray? How we doing, man?
Doing pretty good. How about you? Did you have some nice times around the old fireplace with the kitten and all that kind of good stuff for the holidays?
Oh, I got some cat hair. I had a great time. I certainly had a better time than Jared Goff yesterday.
How bad was that?
And but that was really the only thing that bothered me. I actually enjoyed the football yesterday.
Okay.
But watching the Lions, I mean, I think we're really seeing the full effect of a full year without Ben Johnson. And I was annoyed. I was angry. I was many emotions watching this Lions game on an otherwise great day.
Yeah, that was, we talked, 5 turnovers by a quarterback, 6 turnovers. I mean, you lose to a team that threw the ball for 50 yards. Like that Vikings defense was pretty good. I mean, I gave them credit.
I'll give it to them. They were great.
Dan Campbell, this run its course, right? Not as the head coach, but as the play caller. Like, started out great, and then it kind of like, they can't run the football. Jameson Williams didn't show up yesterday. What do you think?
I was texting my buddy who's a Lions fan yesterday, and I was just like, there was a certain point they ended up scoring on an Isaac TeSlaa touchdown, but that drive was like 18 plays. They went for it on 4th down like 17 times. And I asked him, I was like, is there a point where it's too much, where you're just like, can we have the field goal, please? And he's like, yes, we've been there for a while. Like, we don't have to be this aggressive all the time. So I don't know. I'm curious what Lions fans think, but I know at least one is a little like, all right, let's settle down here. And they are a good team. I think that's the most frustrating part. Like, they have the personnel, they have the roster. The defense is just so beat up, but even they played pretty well yesterday.
The same record as the Vikings now. Like, that's just,
crazy
to think 6 weeks ago that you could have said that. I just mentioned Josh Allen, who's going to start. And my reaction is always, yes. If Josh Allen's playing, you're starting him. I think that's your reaction too. Got a question here from Henry. Do you play the beat up Allen, or do you go with Jackson Dart? Now, remember, it was against the Vikings last week. But Jackson Dart threw the ball for 33 yards he was 2/3 of Brosmer last week through the air. Okay. Now, again, it was against Minnesota, who, is very good. We were just talking about him here. Very similar-ish styles of play, kind of wheeling and dealing, loose and free, and your ability to use your legs. Dart gets the Raiders. No weather to be concerned about. The Raiders aren't very good. Is that enough to play him over Josh Allen, in your opinion?
I'm with you. I can't do it. But here's the thing with Josh Allen. It's like we saw with Lamar this year, where at some point all this stuff is going to catch up to him physically. But I don't know that we're there yet. And I would just continue to start him and see where it goes from here. Last week was obviously rough, but it wasn't a him thing again. It was they scored plenty. It just wasn't on him. So I'm still playing Allen. I get the idea, Henry. It's not a terrible idea. I just wouldn't do it.
By the way, Henry, check this out. Henry is listening live from Universal Studios.
Oh,
look at that, in line. Henry, I hope the line doesn't take too long. Hopefully it doesn't take the entire hour. But
is that the one where is that near Disney? That's the one near Disney, right?
Yeah, it's near Disney. Yeah. Hopefully, Henry, that the Jaws attraction's available. That was my favorite as a kid there at Universal. What happened to Sutton? Henry wants to know too, by the way. And again, this is Denver, and I said this earlier. The Chiefs are not an easy defense to play, and it's not easy to play in Kansas City, right? But the Broncos offense is kind of and winning games in the last minutes, it's become a habit. It's not one you really want. You can't look at Sutton and say, man, the guy got 10 targets. He had a 27% target share or whatever and be disappointed. But 4 catches for 40 yards, a couple of mistakes there by him too. It wasn't a rough game, but it wasn't a good game.
There's something about a primetime game where a guy drops a touchdown in the end zone that, again, my thing yesterday was the Goff and the fumbles. Right. I mean, just right off the bat. All right, Russ, move on. We're moving on. But the Sutton one, he had 2 drops on like a 20-yard catch and then in the end zone. They were both really hard catches, but he was inches away from having 20, 25 fantasy points, truly. So it was frustrating. And my biggest takeaway is, wow, Bo Nix is going to be really good. He's not there yet. He's probably 2 to 3 years away, but he has everything, and he has Sean Payton behind him. This offense isn't great. They don't have a lot of great players yet. Right. Harvey's getting there, starting to use him in the receiving game, but an old, beat up Evan Ingram and Cortland Sutton not really doing it for me.
Russell Clay of fantasyguru.com. He does it for you every Friday here on the show at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. Let's talk about some of the remaining storylines for the week. Josh Jacobs, he's been cleared. He's going to play through that ankle, knee thing, his leg thing. He's going to play against the Ravens. The Packers need to win this game, all that kind of stuff. We know he's a centerpiece of their offense. We also know what happened last game where he gutted it out, but he couldn't gut it out all the way and lost a fumble and basically didn't play anymore. I have Jacobs in a league. I'm still playing Jacobs. What are your thoughts here? Are you playing Jacobs with confidence? Are you considering starting Wilson as like a flex play in case we see a repeat of what happened last week with Jacobs not being able to finish the game? What do you think?
Am I playing him with confidence? Absolutely not. Am I playing him though? Yeah. So I guess I am, right? Because if I see Josh Jacobs is active, I'm playing him.
Right.
But wow, is that what they call a sweat, right? In the DFS circles, that is a sweaty situation. Now at this time of year, I do see a lot of Fantasy Guru members with like 3 or 4 RB1s. Mm-hmm. If you are one of those, you do not need to start Josh Jacobs. If you have I saw someone with Harvey, Hampton, and a few others yesterday, like go with the other guys for sure. If you have like Jacobs or Hampton, go with Hampton. Like let the injury be the tiebreaker. But if you're, it's Tyrone Tracy versus Jacobs, then we just roll with it and hope.
Tyrone Tracy, that's funny. That's actually, I think, what we got in the Man's Home League. Those 2 guys. What about Hampton? You just mentioned Hampton. Kamani Vidal's got the neck injury, not practicing. It's like, it's not looking like he's likely to play this week. So it's likely that we're going to see the Hampton workload that we were seeing early in the year, right? Like we're going to see 15 carries. We're going to see 5 receptions, something like that. That at least makes sense, right? But the matchup against the Texans is really difficult. So talk us through Hampton. Is 20 touches in play this week for him if indeed Kamani Vidal is out?
It is, and they've been ramping up to this, whether Vidal's healthy or not. He looked really good on his touches last week, and we're back to where we were. We got there. It was like we started reading the book, and it was getting really good. Right. And we put it down for 2 months, and we picked it back up again. And we're like, oh, yeah, first-round running back Omarion Hampton should have 100 yards and a touchdown every single week. I think he had like 85, 90 last week in a touchdown. So we're going to get back to that, and I'm looking forward to it, especially in the playoffs. I'm very excited for Hampton. I really, really like him. So, yeah.
Russ, what about the situation with the Patriots? Evan Henderson's dealing with the head injury, right? So sounds like there's a chance, right? But guys coming back 1 week from a head injury, it doesn't always happen, clearly. So what is this? Do you start Henderson? No question about it if he's active. Would you start Stevenson if Henderson was active? And how excited are you about Stevenson if Henderson is not active?
As a Henderson guy, as a big Henderson guy, my stance is, unfortunately, they should be saving him for the playoffs and not risking it this week. Because if he gets, we've seen this so many times, right? You think, oh, he'll play, he won't get another concussion. It's like instant. I would save him for the playoffs if I'm the Patriots, and I would start Ramondre and give him 45 touches. Like that's right. Like that's what we can do with Ramondre at this point. Like who cares if we get 30 touches from Ramondre? He'd probably be very happy. So yeah, that's what I would do. They might try to throw him out there, but I guarantee it's not going to be a featured like we were getting. So, yeah, if I have Ramondre, I'd be kind of excited. So, but yeah, I wouldn't want them to start Travion.
By the way, the Jets the last 6 weeks have allowed the most points to running backs in all of fantasy, including 14 touchdowns in 6 games. 14 touchdowns in 6 games, 5 of those receiving, but 14 touchdowns in 6 games, kind of a lot to give up to the running back position, kind of. So yeah, if I almost now, so I'm going to say this and people are going to get pissed. I almost think, like you said, Henderson, I'd feel better if he wasn't playing. Everyone could then just start Stevenson, but then I would think to myself, not everyone handcuffs. People don't do that, do they, Russ? So then they might not even have Stevenson if Henderson is out.
Yeah. So I don't want this to happen. I would love for Travion Henderson to have 200 yards and 3 touchdowns because I'm a fan, but yeah, it's a Ramondre week if I've ever seen one.
Russell Clay of fantasyguru.com again joins us every Tuesday at about 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. The Browns season, it's in the toilet. Everyone knows. I know. It's just a mess. But Dylan Sampson.
Yep.
He's in play this week. It's provided he plays. He's got the hand injury. He certainly appears likely to be active. If he is indeed active, he should be the leader of this backfield. Talk us through this one here against the Steelers coming up here for Sampson. Excitement level with him if he is indeed active for the Browns.
I really liked Sampson coming out of Tennessee, and he has a all-purpose profile. So we really like that. He showed some signs early in the season, and then we got so excited for Judkins coming back, and that was fun, and that was awesome, and I loved every moment of that, and then that horrible injury happened. So I really like Sampson. I think he's a very talented running back. I think he's someone who, in the right offense, could – you want to talk about Jaylen Warren types. Like he could certainly be a Jaylen Warren type where 3-4 years from now, we look back and say, oh yeah, Dylan Sampson's been a starter for 3 to 4 years now. That makes sense. So that I could definitely see that. And this week, I think if we give him 20 touches, we could get 100 yards. The problem is it's the Browns offense and they're terrible. So that's where we're at. But I do like Dylan Sampson a lot.
The Steelers have allowed the second most receptions to the running back over the last 6 weeks. So maybe that's an area. They don't give a bunch of touchdowns, obviously, to the running back spot. And as Russ said, offense is not good. But really, for the Browns, it's Fannin and the running back. Yeah. Right? Like, Jerry Jeudy needs to have like 47 catches the last 2 games to match his total from last year. Like, it just hasn't happened. Speaking of pass catchers, Davante Adams, I guess is there still a chance he's going to play? I guess there's still a chance. I don't think they've officially ruled him out. Have they? Maybe they did and I missed it. But he's not going to play this week. It certainly doesn't look like it with the hamstring injury. Anyone here pivoting to? Is it just Puka Nacua or is it Parkinson? Is it Whittington? Is it Mumfield? Like anyone here if Adams is out as we anticipate?
There's going to be start sits with these guys.
Right.
And you can't make me. You can't make me, Ray. Okay. You can't make Ray either.
No, you can't make me.
I'm not starting Kenyatta Mumford, whatever his name, Mumford and Sons. I'm not starting that guy.
Okay.
But Tutu Atwell, is maybe a DFS fire if he plays.
Right.
But yeah, no, honestly, I haven't paid much attention. It's Puka, and the tight ends, but even the tight ends, we've seen it. Terrence Ferguson getting involved. Yep. I like Parkinson, but we know what it is. So, yeah,
remarkable that Stafford keeps producing too. That's
crazy.
Yeah. Okay. The answer to this question for me is just no. Okay, but it has to be asked. Okay, Taysom Hill. Was last week a final hurrah for a guy who's going to retire at home? Is that a trend now? Because we're down to running backs 37 and 38. Is Hill going to be? Because I've seen some people, I've read reports, out in the universe. He's a must-start tight end 1 this week. Like the word "must" is being used. He's a must-start. Now, no one said that before last week with Taysom Hill ever. They're just using that off of one single game, which is not the way to do this as an analyst. Is he going to lead this team in touches again in the backfield? I mean, we can't look at him catching passes, throwing pass, touchdown. We can't expect that level right of last week. But he had 12 carries. Is he in play this week to be a tight end 1?
What happened to Alvin Kamara? Where is he? What's he doing?
He just doesn't play, even though they don't put him on the IR. I'm not really sure.
Is he just on Sundays eating jambalaya in Louisiana, just hanging?
Maybe.
He's not even been doubtful. He's been questionable for like 5 weeks. So I'm 100% sure they're just rotating in the new guys here. Taysom Hill, like you said, it's sort of a different situation, kind of like Travis Kelce last night. It does feel like the end. 12 carries and 4 receptions is a tight end 1.
Yeah. Right. Is he going to do it again? What's your call here?
I would think so.
Really?
Yeah. There's nothing there. They have their practice squad guys at this point. So I don't know if is Devin Neal's out, right? Is Devin Neal?
Yeah.
So there's nothing else, right? And there's Tyler Shook. It's Shook, by the way. Right. I just learned his he forced me to learn his pronunciation. It forced me to as of last week. So I respect Tyler Shook and that Saints team.
Russell Clay of fantasyguru.com. Russ is also our main dynasty guy. You update the rankings every Wednesday. You'll obviously do that again this week. You did it this week. You'll do it again next week.
Yep.
Once we hit the postseason, what's the schedule for updating the rankings for dynasty?
Yeah, just keep it rolling. Again, a lot of the stuff is going to slow down significantly. I mean, a lot of the things that happen the next 2 weeks are not going to matter, right? We're looking for young guys getting snaps, but and then playoffs, not much changes, and then we look towards the draft. So it's I won't say it's a quiet time in Dynasty, but most of the cards have fallen where they may at this time of the year. You know where you're picking in your rookie draft, and your leagues are crowning champions this week. So exciting times.
Russ, let's talk about some dynasty guys. I want to talk about 3 guys in particular. One of them you mentioned earlier, 2 we haven't talked about this week, obviously. Rashee Rice. This, it seems there's obviously a chance that Mahomes is ready for week 1 next year. He's going to be their quarterback whenever he's back off his knee injury. Okay. But I don't know if Andy Reid's going to be back. I don't know what the plan is here. Rice, he's been put on the IR for those people that missed it. More injuries. There's been multiple injuries now in his career. He's had the off the field stuff in his career. When he's out there, he's a wide receiver 1. He is. But how are we viewing him? Because again, we're talking off the field stuff. We're talking injury stuff. We're talking team stuff. What are we doing with him? It's a tough call, right?
I've always been lower on Rashee Rice. There's this major push for Rashee Rice everywhere. And he is a wide receiver 1 with Mahomes. The problem is he's 26 already. Mm-hmm. He's now lost Mahomes for this year. He ended up not being a wide receiver 1. And I don't think there's any way Mahomes is back week 1 next year. So what are we really getting? And then he's going to be 27, 28. And then we're getting into the middle ages, unless you're a guy like AJ Brown or, Julio Jones or Antonio Brown. Those are the only guys that really hold value into their mid to late 20s. Now, he can still produce. I don't think that's going to be a question when Mahomes is back. So we're getting into that range with him of he's more valuable to the roster than he will be dynasty-wise. But I like him. He's fine. If you have him, you're definitely hold him. Do not trade him now. Keep him. So he's a hold for me if you have him.
They got to figure out that receiving core. What a mess. I mean, Xavier Worthy's their number 2, and he's really a gadget player, right?
I thought he was going to be more than that, and he's just not. Yeah. He's a gadget, you mentioned.
Isaac TeSlaa, like, it was an odd pick by the Lions at the time. It's like, we don't really need this guy, but we'll take a chance. There's all these measurables that are through the roof. And, he's absolutely had moments. Now, in fantasy, you can't play him. Yesterday was like his best overall game, 3 for 49 in the touchdown or whatever it is, right? Because he catches one pass here, 2 passes there, random touchdown every 3 weeks. How do you look at what he has done? Because he's made some remarkable catches. As is, the measurables, again, we've talked about him before. Is he going to carve out a role here? He's still the third receiver with the team. So Amon-Ra St. Brown ain't going anywhere. Williams signed a contract extension. What are we doing with Isaac TeSlaa?
You draft the player, not the situation, because if the player's good enough, the situation will happen. And sometimes it takes a while. Six touchdowns already this year on a very limited role. You can tell Jared Goff trusts him in the red zone. He threw an absolute bullet in there yesterday, and TeSlaa brought it in. There is no one on the Lions like him. I like Jameson Williams. He's probably a better player than TeSlaa, but I don't even know what the ceiling is. I wasn't a huge TeSlaa guy coming out, but what I've seen this year, the value's still pretty low. So I would just buy and say, all right, well, the role is not there to be an every week starter, but I'll buy the player, and, maybe an injury happens to Jameson Williams next year and we have a guy that's a wide receiver too. And if not, you have a flex.
Christian Watson, 6'4", 210 pounds, game-breaking talent, multiple games with multiple touchdowns, all constant injuries. Now he's dealing with an illness. He's got the shoulder thing right now. Probably going to play this week, but now he's up. This Packers team throws the ball to everyone. We were talking earlier about how Romeo Doubs, the only guy with over 36 catches. I mean, and again, we've all seen it and know with Watson. Let me just say this to everyone who doesn't know. Watson has never had 650 yards in the season. 650. 650. He's never had 45 catches. 45. What do we do? You just got to hold, because do you wait next year until he has that week 1 where he goes for 102 and trade him? Like, what are you adding him? He's so frustrating because he can be so explosive. No, he's saying no, folks, for those of you that don't have video.
That's all I have. I finally got on the train this year. This was the year I got on, and I took my ride on the Christian Watson roller coaster. It's not fun. It is fun for that 1 week you start him in the right week. That's super fun. The rest is terrible. I hate this. Get me off this ride. Christian Watson, great talent. Would love to see him stay healthy. Let's get him to a warm weather team like Miami. I feel like being in Green Bay in the cold adds to this for some reason. I don't know why. I just feel that. Send him to Miami or Atlanta, and we'll see if a warm weather place can keep him healthy, because this has been a nightmare. So that's my answer. I don't have an answer. If you have him, you don't have answers either.
Right.
He's probably not a great dynasty asset at this point, just because you'll never know. You'll never be confident. But I mean, the talent is clear.
45 and 650. Like, these are bleh. These are Troy Franklin like stuff. This is bleh.
Yeah.
Like, good shit. Great shit. A couple comments here from the folks in the chat room. Angelo's got a question. The Rams play on Monday against the Falcons. So Angelo's saying, I might pivot to Trevor Lawrence, who scores 8 touchdowns a week now, over Stafford, because there's a scenario where maybe Stafford gets sat if things play out with Seattle and San Francisco. Are you worried about that? Would you sit Stafford for Lawrence, who has played phenomenal football? He's got the Colts on Sunday.
Trevor Lawrence, even in his worst seasons, destroys the Colts. I don't know why this is a thing, and I've been watching the Colts. They play this stupid zone that you watch and you say, oh, how is not everyone beating that? Early in the season, it was working. Trevor Lawrence is going to destroy them. again. I would assume, unless they change something, which I don't think they will, they got to change that zone. And if they don't, then Jacoby Myers is going to have 150 yards against them. So I'm fine with shifting to TeSlaa. He's been the quarterback one over the last month. I think these are QB1 and QB2. The fact that you have both is fine with me, and it's the Colts. So unless I got that matchup wrong, they are playing the Colts, right?
Yep.
Okay. Thank the Lord. Imagine if they were playing like the Seahawks or something.
After all that time, you sold
just
it.
like
You sold
way
it
off. So Angelo, if Trevor Lawrence is playing the Colts, he should destroy them.
Trone Force has got a question, and Trone, I would not have done what you did. Ooh. Trone sat. I can't even speak. Bo Nix, who we had ranked 10 spots ahead of Tyler Shuck, for Tyler Shuck. You should have played Bo Nix, in my opinion. The second part is the part that really scares me. Stacking Saints is I can't. Shuck, Olave, Johnson. Johnson's fine to start. We talked earlier in the show about Olave. He's fine to start. Stacking Saints. I know it's Tennessee, but what do you think about this call?
Stacking Shuck, baby. Let's go. Let's go, Trone. Well, you know what? It's not something I would do. It's kind of like it's something on the menu and you go, I'm good. I don't know who's eating. I don't know who's eating that, but Trone's eating that. That's who's ordering that off the menu. The Shuck Saints special. I mean, Olave's been great. Juwan Johnson's a interesting, what the heck, flex tight end guy, and Shuck he has my respect. So I'm even saying his name wrong. I said his name wrong for the last 9 months.
Right.
And so I'm saying his name right now. It's Shuck. So shout out to him.
I don't want to play Devonta Smith and AJ Brown because they're teammates that catch passes, and they got Jalen Hurts. Going Juwan Johnson and Olave with their court, to me that's just, and hope it works out, because again, the advice we give isn't always right, but that is just not something I would have agreed to. I just can't. Trone does have a follow-up question about the flex, and this one's tough. Devonta Smith, who I just mentioned, or either one of the Steelers backs. Obviously Metcalf, barring some insanity from the league, getting rid of his suspension because they're hearing extra information. They're not going to do that at this point. It's Friday, so he's not playing this week. So Gainwell, who's been catching 5 passes every week, who leads the team in catches, by the way, is going to catch 5 passes this week, if not more. So we go in Gainwell, Warren, or Devonta Smith. You made a funny face with Devonta Smith.
No, it's the Gainwell thing. So figuring out Kenny Gainwell was going to be the Arthur Smith chess piece this year.
No one did that. Yeah.
That would have been like grandmaster fantasy football right there.
Right.
I feel like I could have found it if I didn't like Caleb Johnson, which I did. I ended up falling for that. It was there. The Cordero Patterson, Kenny Gainwell thing was there. I wish I saw that. I feel like if you really you could have seen it, probably not, but that's like the highest level of 4D chess there. Right. I'd go with Gainwell, man. It's every week. It's been every week for a couple months now. So yeah, I just go Gainwell.
I took Gainwell in the Scott Fish Bowl. That pick.
Did you?
Pick 219, 19th round. Who got taken next to him? JCM, Drew Sample, the tight end stuff.
I was laughing at you saying, why would you need that when I have Caleb Johnson?
Yeah, well, it was 19th round. It wasn't. So yeah, there you go. And Angela also brings up a point. And it's a broader question. Could we see Jameis Winston in the second half? Could Dart get injured? Could they bench him? These things can happen. Are you worried? And I think in the question of the Monday game with the Rams, that's a valid question because it's Monday. Who's your pivot? You're gonna go play Kirk Cousins in the finals against the Rams? Are you worried about guys resting this week? I'm not, but are you?
No, but Jackson Dart is a heck of a question mark right now. So if you're playing him, I'm not too worried about it, but I don't think the Giants would think about sitting anybody, right?
Unless they're worried about Dart getting hurt, and if they're worried about him getting hurt, why start him?
Yeah.
That's kind of, if he gets banged up.
Why risk Dart for
Well,
nothing?
why they've been playing him? Why have they played him at all this year then? They could
Yeah.
have played Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston the whole season. Could have done that if they knew they weren't going to win the whole year. That's not nothing new there.
Now, is Jackson Dart throwing himself into chaos every play? Yeah. They're probably sick to their stomach watching him, but yeah.
What do you do, by the way? Because they're going to try to win that first pick, right? And make Jackson Dart's clearly the quarterback of the future. How aggressive you think they're going to be at trying to change his game? Right? It's one thing to say we're not going to call quarterback runs, okay, but at the same time, Willie Fisher is not a great receiving core. Obviously, massive difference with Malik Neighbors back out there.
Yep.
But Dart as a passer this year, it's okay. It's all been really about his legs. If you pull that part of his game back, can he even be effective?
Well, my best experience with this was Robert Griffin, who I was all in on. Mm-hmm. And then he had that major knee injury and he completely changed his game and it totally took out all his upside. It just totally shifted it away. So that's the great question, right? Mm-hmm. Do you take that piece away? And then what is he? I mean, look at Trevor Lawrence this year that he added the rushing. It's like he's a totally different guy. So they can't, but they just know what they're getting with this rushing stuff.
It's really tough because the rushing component is such a dynamic part of playing the quarterback position anymore. And it poses so many problems for a defense, and it's fantastic in fantasy, right? But at some point you got to throw the ball, right? Yeah. And like watch Jalen Hurts, like that dude can do it, right? Watch Josh Allen, that dude can do it. There's a lot of running quarterbacks, Justin Fields. Like there's a lot of these guys that athleticism is insane, but at some point you got to sit in the pocket. And again, Dart's a young guy. He's got a beat up receiving core. I get it, but I don't think he's proved he can do that yet. Again, it's very early in his career, Russ.
Yeah. So we're looking at the Raiders this week.
Mm-hmm.
He should be able to do it.
Right.
But yeah, it's chaos.
We appreciate you, Gavin. Thanks for the kind words. Hope everyone's in the championship this week. And if you are, we're answering questions in Discord over at fantasyguru.com. Remember, there's those Saturday games, all the games on Sundays. So make sure you check the schedule when you're asking your questions, as well as when you're setting your lineups. Russ, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it. Glad you had a good holiday week. Thanks for joining us today. We'll bring it back on next Friday, kind of wrapping things up. Do you have any leagues that you're in that play week 18? Or are they all done this week?
So I do have a best ball dynasty league that plays out week 18. But no, all mine are week 17 championships in terms of like redraft and regular dynasty.
Should they be 18 weeks or 17?
No. That
soft.
Final week is just pain. It's just so much pain with backups and third stringers and teams not playing. I mean, I don't know why they made it an extra game to begin with, Ray. I mean, we're leaving. Do you have any thoughts on week 18?
I think everyone should play week 18. I think you're soft if you don't play week 18. I like the 2-week final personally.
Okay, I can get with that.
I don't, because again, week 18 can be wonky, but we always talk about players sitting and all this. There's 2 teams playing 20 guys in the championship. It's not like, each team's going to have one player active, right? So I think it gets blown over one. But I think we've seen this in all sports. We see it in basketball, guys rest all the time. We see it in baseball where guys don't play. Look at just the quarterback position across the landscape of the NFL. It's a disaster. It's been a couple years of this in a row, right? Yeah. We've got Tyler Shuck, who we're talking about, Josh Johnson, Quinn Ewers, Brosmer, Shedeur Sanders, Phillip Rivers, Brady Cook, Oladokin. Like, this is a quarter of the league, third of the league is using their second or third string quarterback. So it's not just week 18. This has already happened. This has been happening it's tough. And playing seasonal in fantasy is difficult. It's got way more difficult than it was when we were younger, Russ, or at least when I was younger. Guys used to play all the games, and they just don't do that anymore.
And I think that extra game has made teams plan out their season more responsibly, like you mentioned, and that's why we're seeing more backups earlier. Right. And it is way harder than 10 years ago. I've had my thought of that the last couple years, it is much more difficult now.
Yeah. Russ Clay of fantasyguru.com will be back with us next Friday at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. Have a great weekend, Russ. Good luck this weekend in Week 17, championship week, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right. Thanks, Ray.
He's Russ. I'm Ray. We're here with you every day, Monday through Friday. Or at least the show is here every day, Monday through Friday, 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Monday. I'll be back here. We'll review all the Saturday and Sunday action going game by game, team by team in championship week here in fantasy football. Don't forget to go to fantasyguru.com right now. Get signed up. Click that subscribe tab in the top right corner. Send an email to support@fantasyguru.com. And tune into SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio to hear the Elite Sports Show with Jeff Manns Monday through Friday from 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For us, I am Ray. It's been Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by fantasyguru.com.